On this episode of Whiskermen's podcast, Beards in Business, we have a special beers. We unpackage episode 1 of The Blocks and cover the viewing party. While in the business section, we have a fellow contestant from season 11, Dalton with Corporate Reside.
All right, guys, what's up? Welcome to another edition of Whiskermen's podcast, Beards in Business. We're going to do a little something different today in the beard section. We're going to talk about the season premiere of The Blocks. I'll break down episode 1, and then we'll cover the watch party, and then we'll get into our business section with someone who was on the show with me from The Blocks. So first, watching the show back was really surreal experience. One, to have done something like that, and then 2, reliving some of the moments. So going through episode 1, which was entitled Fired Up for Another Round, season 11, episode 1. It was really cool. I was in the background in that episode, so you'll see me right around the 22-ish minutes, and you'll see my face sitting there in the crowd. But so breaking it down, Wes gave us a quick little speech of expectations, things, and kind of setting the stage, no pun intended, for the week to come and what to experience. And then I recall, from there we went to dinner. I remember going into dinner, and it's weird because now you're meeting new people, so that's always an awkward moment. But I recall sitting down at dinner, having some really good conversation. I know that I was sitting between Paige, and I was sitting between Michelle, so it was pretty cool to chat, and then maintaining those connections still. So that was really cool. And then seeing some of the other folks, or reminders of like, oh yeah, I forgot about that person. I haven't reached out and been in touch as much with them as I should. So that was really cool to recap that. And then reminding of how cool the judges were was another part that came from episode 1 of their backgrounds, and then thinking of like, oh yeah, I remember that they did tell us that experience, and then being in their pods throughout the 5 days was really cool. So that was one of the other things that came from the episode. So really a shorter, condensed episode. I think it was probably under an hour, but really just kind of setting the stage for what's to come, which was really cool. So again, if you want to watch it, you can go to the Blocks app, binge watch the whole thing. You can go to their website, binge watch the whole thing from there, or every week on their Facebook, they'll be dropping a new episode. So we did watch episode 6 because that is the one that I'm featured on. So I look forward to talking about that when the time comes on the show. So I'll gloss over the show. I won't talk too much about details, but it was really cool and humbling. So much love and support. On Wednesday, we hosted a watch party at the best humidor in the world, Bethel's Humidor and Aficionado. We hosted upstairs in the Aficionado part. Had a really good turnout. I can encourage you to go over our social media and look at the pictures because we had a great turnout. Just folks coming out and just showing their love and support, which meant the world to me and my wife. So that was really cool. But what was made me really honored and special was another contestant who's not far. Parents live in the Dayton area, so she was able to come down, was Melanie. Guys, her story is so amazing. With Belly Bug, just if you don't get a chance or haven't already had a chance, go look at this show. Look up her Belly Bug, and just an amazing, talented young lady, just honoring her sisters. So such a cool thing there. So it was really cool. One thing that I do want to share with you guys, I will put it up. I kicked off the watch party with a speech. So we'll go ahead and insert that speech, which was pre-recorded, right now. Get into the show, and then a little bit about the show, because we're in episode 6, and obviously episode 6 is not officially aired, but it's officially aired. Long story, I'll get to that. So thank you. First and foremost, thank you to Patrick and Megan for allowing us to be here. And one of the biggest blessings was meeting Patrick at Juneteenth. You should have been there, Kenny, because you could have been the one.
You're black, Kenny.
Wow.
But it was a blessing to be there. Patrick got me introduced to the Heart.
then more importantly got me introduced here, and I am recording. So the community here is amazing. We love you guys. But special thank you to Patrick and Megan for one, not only the friendship and networking, but we were going to sell our product, but that's kind of not what I wanted to do. What would mean more to me is if you guys are looking to get an oil, if you get their signature line, because then I like two first. It benefits them, it benefits me. So they have their own signature line. If you weren't aware, CLP and Preacher. It is on sale here, pay downstairs. It means a lot more to me if you buy theirs than mine tonight. And then come see us at the next festival or event that we're at. So next, thank you to everybody. Goes without saying, it takes a village to raise the idiot, and you all have played a role in some form or fashion, helping us grow this. Whether you just share with folks, yeah, there's quite a few of them. So I really appreciate all the love and support that everybody's shown. It's been an amazing journey. And then thank you to my son who's going to inherit this someday. Hopefully he doesn't kill me if we get too big, but he does. He's got a goatee. So, buddy, I know it's you just woke up, so thank you for waking up to come be part of this. It means a lot having you here. And then I couldn't honestly. I joke with a lot of people, but I'm serious. This is her business. I just have my name on it because I'm able to call it a disabled veteran-owned business because I own 51% of it. She owns whatever 51 minus 100 is. But she is the business, guys. She makes all the products. She does all of the everything. I'm the face. That's it. If she could grow a beard, I'd be out of business and you would never see me again. So thank you, Jennifer, for everything. So story behind this, our previous bookkeeper introduced us to this, and it's come a long way. So the blocks, when we applied, it was like on season 4, and it was filmed at Wes's mansion, and it was very, I don't know, it was weird. So it was a leap of faith to go on the show. A little bit about the show, since this is episode 6, and the reason I picked this is because you actually get to hear me and see me on here. So Wes Bergman, guy's a genius. Hopefully he sees this, likes, comments. But he was a reality TV guy. He was old school, Road Rules, or lived in a house or something on MTV. Then went on the challenge, won millions of dollars from it. But he is an entrepreneur at heart, so he looked at how he could take his entrepreneur skills and put it towards businesses. So he runs an incubator out of Kansas City, and you're in resident, you're getting mentored weekly, having meetings. And of course, that means you give up some of your company, which is great. He's got an ROI of over $1 billion at this point, and people are now ripping off this show, which is amazing because that means he's doing something. But he took that and his reality TV show and put the blocks together. So what it is every morning we'd get up, you'd have breakfast, and then you have an hour to network to meet your peers. Some good, some bad. I won't tell you who's who while the camera's on, but a lot of diverse people. Then after that, you go into a classroom setting for 2 hours, a PowerPoint lecture. He teaches you business, real world. And then you go to lunch and you try to digest it. You're supposed to look at your notes, which I have plenty of, and prepare for the game. After lunch, you come back from the game, and he says, I think this one was, doesn't matter. The one that I do vividly remember was customer acquisition. How do you find that new person, and how do you get them to be a loyal customer, and what do you use? You've got 15 minutes to prepare, 3 minutes to talk, go. And the only thing you're allowed to use, well, the only thing you're supposed to use is this, our book, which I branded, of course, and you put your notes in there, and then you go up and you present. You can use your book to present, and then they rack and stack you, and then the winners of each group go up on the stage each night. The one girl that I was kind of hoping that she was here, I hope everything's good. Look her story up. If you guys go back and watch the show, it's really entertaining. But this girl, I told somebody about her. She runs Bailey Bug. Her sister was in a wheelchair her whole life, and she created this cape that covers the wheelchair. So if you've got any friends, family that are in the wheelchair or know someone who's wheelchair bound, look her product up. She's amazing. She's got a great story. She's an amazing person. And this is being recorded, and I'm not going to edit it. I think she was the rightful winner. I'll take heat from that and then send that to whiskermen.com. My wife will reply to him. but she had the most compelling story and had an amazing business behind it. And she's just a great human being. I really wish she walks in here in a little bit, but if she does, she does. So I fast forward it. We've binge watched the whole show. So if you want to binge watch it, the blocks wherever you get your apps at, and then you can watch all 8 episodes. Facebook's going to release every week, so you'll see I'll post. This was week 1. On their Facebook, they're going to go week by week, but you can binge watch it. So I'll tell you, no, I didn't win. No, did I ever make it to the stage? But I did place 11th because they only scored the top 10, so everyone finished 11th thereafter. But I went more for the learning and the network. And you guys that come here all the time that are here for happy hour know that networking is huge, and the community reminds me a little bit of the heart of Centerville. So it's a really great community. So in this episode, I am featured. I'm on there for like, call it 66 seconds, but they do tell my story. So if anyone is interested on being on the show, it's a really great opportunity. And either Gretzky or Jordan, one of those two said it. They probably both said it and both take credit for it and say the other one said it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you get an opportunity, like you guys are doing with your bookstore, do it. You know, Patrick, you did this years ago with this. Take your shots. You don't know where it's going to be. And lastly, it does mean a lot to me that you're all here. We filled this room up, which was kind of scared that we're just going to have folks come up from downstairs. So really, not that I don't love you guys, but I love each and every one of you in this room, and it means a lot. So I will press play.
All right, guys. I said a lot of great things, and I've kind of redundant, and I apologize for that. But thank you to everyone who's been supportful. I called folks out by name and stuff on the video that you just watched, so it was really, really special to have that moment. While I didn't excel on the show, but I did learn so much, and it just meant the world to me that folks were coming out just to support it. So that was really special. So I'm super excited to where the future has on hold for Whiskermen. We did get picked up in a local newspaper that's online. The Dayton Daily News featured us on their online. May go to print. Hopefully we can get a copy of that if it does. But really cool to just have that going on right now in our lives. So if you go over our social media, interact with us. Give us a like, go on pictures. It means a lot. Follow us on this. Give us a like, drop some comments. We really appreciate it. Taking the time to watch this and stuff. So short and sweet. We will get back in after this 8th episode. We'll get back into more beard stuff. But right now, we're just gonna unpack each week my journey on the blocks. So episode 1 in the books. Look forward to talking about episode 2. But also from season 11, the guests that I have pre-recorded. I recorded this a while ago, so you hear us talk about the show coming out. It just coincides with the fact that I got around to adding this person in the queue to be on. So that's why you'll hear us talk about the show, but not talk about the show because this was filmed a couple months ago. So Dalton, as you'll watch, you'll be able to see his journey. I encourage you to go binge watch it or watch it weekly. You'll see Dalton's journey and where he was in the show. We talk very, very vaguely because we weren't allowed to get into too many things prior to the show release. But my next guest was a fellow contestant on season 11. So I will turn it over to the pre-recorded interview that I conducted with Dalton.
All right, what's up, guys? As promised, we are now on to the business part of this podcast. Today, I've got a young man that I met while we were in Tulsa, both filming for the blocks, which will be coming out hopefully sometime spring, summertime. And that's all we could say. We've been sworn to secrecy. The big red beard West said he'll drop elbows on us if we leak any details. But know that that's coming. We'll build up a little anticipation to see us on there. So Dalton, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it's good to see you again. So,
yeah, you too.
Why don't you tell us, obviously I gave away your first name and it's right there on the bottom screen, but tell us who you are and what your business is, and then go right into what your business does.
Sure. So my name is Dalton Riggins. When I was on the blocks with you, I was there with my business, Corporate Resides. We're a corporate housing company. So we do a lot of short and midterm rentals. We try to focus on like travel nurses, people in between homes. We do, as I said, do some short term. So we're familiar with using platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo and things like that. Since then, I've kind of expanded into some other stuff. We've done some house flipping, some buy and holds, long-term rentals. So a lot of different things within the context of real estate. And yeah, things have been going really well.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. We'll pull this out a little bit here in a minute, but you started with one thing, and tell us why. So why, when we had the filming, that you were doing that, and then what came of that you were able to move on to different, segments inside. You're still kind of in the housing,
For
uh,
sure.
but what led that? How did you get to transition basically to a different type of thing?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think a big part of it was we were in the beginning stages of trying to systematize our business, where my inspiration for starting my own business was I wanted financial freedom. I wanted to stop trading my time for money. And that is by definition, what a business is supposed to be, is something that you make money, not by actively being involved. And of course, there's the early stages that we're all familiar with, that in the beginning of starting a business, that's you're certainly still trading your time for money. But my end goal was to be able to replace myself, replace my time. And through going through the blocks, one of the big takeaways was how to implement certain systems, whether they be personnel, softwares, just better practices, whatever it might be. And so I've been able to automate a lot of what Corporate Resides has been doing for the last couple of years. I've got a couple of great people in place that manage the primary amount of the day to day. I still like to kind of be involved. And then through some regulation and through just some evolutions of the business and what my personal priorities are, I made some good relationships with who is now my business partner in another business. And we've taken on this whole other animal. And I've been able to do that because my primary business is, by and large, self-sustaining.
Yeah, you hit some great points that, you know, um, young entrepreneurs need to keep in mind. Yeah, the goal is for it to be a self-licking ice cream cone, but that
Right.
just doesn't come out of a box. You got to put it in time, and then eventually you get to where you are, to where you can transition into something new. I
Mhm.
was just reading a blog the other day that said um, million and multi-millionaires have seven minimum of about seven different streams of income. So
Mhm.
you're already creating two, so you're three more. Sorry, my math's not good. It's five more. Yeah. And you're right there. But one of the things that I think you said that I really want to touch base on is that you surrounded yourself with a great team that allowed you to do that. I'm currently in the book Think and Grow Rich, and that's one
Yep.
of the things that was put in there. Talking about back in the day, they tried charging Henry Ford with being a pacifist, and they tried
Mhm.
embarrassing him because he didn't have an
Yep.
education. And
Correct.
I think what you're doing is exactly what Henry Ford did. He doesn't know everything about everything, but he surrounded himself with smart people that allowed him to go, hey, you've got this piece. You've got
Mhm.
this piece. I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna figure out a whole new piece for us to get into.
Right.
Is that kind of where you got to?
Yeah, I mean, I was, I think luck plays a role in everything. And so, I was lucky that I had somebody that I had brought into my original W-2 job. And as I started my business, as I grew my business, and as I took my business to the next level beyond that, she was kind of with me. And so I just kind of brought her along. She learned from the ground up, and it was very easy to just sort of transition and say, hey, I'm going to step out. I want you to take over these things. I'm here if you need me, but hopefully you don't need me. And, by and large, that's worked out really well. My current business partner, similar, we were acquaintances of acquaintances for a long time. Somehow we just ran back together. We both ended up doing a lot of stuff with short-term rentals and so forth. Wanted to start picking each other's brains, just realized we vibed really well. And he's really good at finding deals, finding private money, understanding, contracts and contractors and how they operate. And I'm really good with all the logistics of setting stuff up, seeing if a deal makes sense. And we mesh with each other really, really well. And we've been able to learn a lot from each other. And it's just been a great partnership.
Yeah, I think what you just described there is the old saying, iron sharpens iron.
Mhm.
You guys are just, building off of each other's strengths to make this mega thing. So before we get into your origin story, kind of dive into, I want to make sure that we didn't miss it. You're currently flipping houses, correct? Is kind of I'm probably downplaying that a little bit, but go a little bit into what endeavor you're into right now.
So I think our end goal, if I'm to start there, is we want to own large multifamily. When we talk to other real estate professionals, we talk to people that occasionally are like, I own 40 houses, which is great, good for them. Our take on it is we would like to own 40 doors as well, but wouldn't it be great if you only had to worry about one roof, versus 40 different roofs, right? Something as simple as that is just kind of a difference in the way we think. And so we like large multifamily. And so we started down the path of like, well, what's the fastest way that we can create capital? And we thought the answer was flipping houses. And we've done very well thus far. But we've also started to really understand the power of the velocity of your capital. And I think a lot of people brought up through your traditional education system are kind of taught that borrowing money is bad, having debt is bad. But when you understand how money works, how interest rates work, a little bit about how the economy works, trust me, I don't know everything, but you start to understand that by borrowing smart, by leveraging other people's capital, other people's money, you can go a lot further, a lot faster. And so, yes, we're flipping houses, but we've really narrowed in on this niche where we're not just finding some piece of junk in the worst part of town. My partner in particular, Justin, has gotten really good at identifying properties that have more than likely hit a lot of these milestones, sold within the last 5 years, renovated within the last 5 years, somehow, some way, getting, whether that's interior pictures, getting interior access to the property, and just knowing what is that ARV, that after repair value, what is a realistic comp for that? And we're not walking into some piece of junk. We're walking into something that quite literally needs less than $5,000 worth of work and can be done and ready inside of 1-2 weeks. And we can put right back on the market within 30 days. And so we've done, in the last couple months, we've done like 5 or 6 flips. We made about $80,000 profit from those flips, and I didn't set foot in a single one of those houses. And we were in and out of those projects in less than 2 weeks. They sat on the market more than they sat, under contract or under construction. So we've just really narrowed in on a particular segment of the flipping market, and we've just done really well with that.
Yeah, that's awesome that, you put on the news, whether you watch the left, right, middle, in between, up, down, they're all nonsense in my personal opinion. But they say the housing market is one of the hardest to figure out financially because it's up, down. I mean, it literally looks like an EKG the way it bounces up and down. So you got to kind of have to know a little bit more of, how to leverage the dollar,
Sure.
especially with rates going up, down. We're in a recession, we're not in a recession. So that's really interesting that you hit on that. So why are you in, like, out of all the things, all the
Mhm.
business opportunities that are out there, what led you to this industry?
I liked money. I liked money, and I read books on money. And then one thing, you mentioned a stat that, by the way, I heard the same stat like 15 years ago, which is the average millionaire has over 7 streams of income. I've heard that too. And the other stat that was really apparent to me in the more and more books that I consumed was almost every millionaire has some predisposition to a real estate aspect of their portfolio. And So, then you start going down the specific, not just the financial, but specifically the real estate rabbit hole of, well, why does real estate work? Why is it so powerful? And, I know we don't have this kind of time to really dig into that yet, but the short answer is the way the tax code is written, real estate, housing, jobs, and research and development are the three primary things that if you understand the tax code, those are the things that you are quite literally incentivized by the government, whether that's how you're taxed, what you're taxed on, how much you pay, what perks you have. There's just a lot of power in your dollars being invested in real estate, whether you're creating housing, via flips, or you're owning it long term, whatever it might be. And as I started to understand that and understand how you could quite literally use other people's money to own an asset that you then get a direct tax benefit from, and then you can make money from that and you're taxed at the lowest rate, and then you can borrow against this asset that you own that you didn't buy with your own money to go buy another asset. As you start to compound those things on top of one another, you understand that there's something here. And maybe this is a good segue into my origin story, but I worked for a company starting at 17 years old. The company's called Vector, but you sell Cutco products. It's like kitchen knives. They're the best in the world. They're amazing, American made, awesome stuff. And I sold those door to door, got into management, did a lot of cool stuff with them, learned a ton about business at such a young age, and just, being a self-motivator and all of that. And eventually I kind of hit a ceiling and just felt like I'd done everything and I was about to leave. They opened a retail division. So then I managed several retail stores, did a bunch of cool stuff with them, really growing a whole new aspect of that business. And then same thing, just kind of hit a ceiling. And I eventually realized if I wanted to go far, if I wanted to have autonomy, if I wanted to live this financial freedom sort of life, then I needed to do something on my own. And so I started researching, reading books, listening to podcasts, and I came across this idea of rental arbitrage, which is how I started my corporate housing company, leveraging platforms like Airbnb. And within like 8 months, I left my W-2 job. I replaced my income and my fiance's income at the time, grew that business, and until this last year, as I said, was on the blocks, met my partner, and then we decided, hey, let's go do this other thing, and that's been going really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Leveraging. A lot of people, they see these TLC flipping houses and are like, I can do it. And it's you just proven that there's a lot more involved than just going and buying a house off the market and then going
For sure.
that you got to understand how to leverage all of those things that probably you process in seconds. That, as you're saying, I'm like, what? Those are the things that set you up. The better you are at doing that, and the better the group that's around you, the quicker you're going to be able to turn that 5,000 into 80,000. Move from one project, move from one whole business into something different. So, what is it? So obviously you're flipping houses for your business. What service, or what if someone wanted to get involved with you? How do they go about doing that? Like if someone says, hey, I've got a chunk of change that's just sitting there and I would love to get involved and make 5%, whatever it is. How can someone reach out and get involved with you in this?
Sure. I mean, I'm happy to, provide contact info, name, phone number, email, whatever works best, and we can throw it up here on the screen. But, I guess more to your direct question, what could someone do? I think there's a couple of things I'd be open to. First and foremost, I came on here just because obviously I met you on the blocks and wanted to support you and your new podcast and everything. So I appreciate you having me on. But as far as what we could offer, I mean, I think from the standpoint of my corporate housing business, I think the times are changing a little bit. And so there's a lot more to even understand now than there was before. And so while my number one priority is protecting my time, because that was the whole purpose, as I mentioned, of getting into this, I think I've been open to, if you want to call it coaching or mentoring, whatever. I've made myself available to a couple people just to say, hey, if you're really committed, I'm happy to invest my time with you and see where you can take it. And I've got some cool stories. So if people are interested in getting into rental arbitrage, understanding short-term, mid-term rental markets, maybe because they already have some real estate or they want to get some to do that with, totally happy to provide my input on that. If they're looking to do something with their money and maybe they're hesitant to do it themselves, then as I said, me and my partner now with the flips that we're doing and some of the buy and holds, we've been getting private money rather than going to banks, just because there's a lot more flexibility. And with the way rates are, we can offer someone a higher rate of return in a shorter time frame than a bank could offer. So if they're looking to invest some money, we'd be down to do that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. So at the end of this podcast, we'll go ahead and throw Dalton's contact information up so that you can reach out to him. And that's awesome. I think the mentoring aspect of, finding someone, and you never know, the saying is you close the door, a window opens. You
Mhm.
don't know where that goes. Of you mentor someone, and next thing you know, they're like, "Hey, I just found this block of houses that are in the market,
Yeah.
and they're perfect for you." You know,
Right.
that situation seems to come up. It seems the more you give, the more you get.
Mhm.
Giving most times is not looking to get, but as you're mentoring folks, that seems to just be the way it happens. The more generous you are, the more generosity comes back onto you. So that's all the questions that I had, and I appreciate it. Time is very valuable coming on here. That's one of the great things of, I'll throw a pitch in for the blocks. The community that you get from the group of folks there. Obviously, you can see it. Folks will come on, take time out just to come on and be part of a podcast, just because of the networking and friendship that was built through there. So I have no more questions. Is there anything that you want to add that I didn't ask, or anything you want to point out to our audience, or anything at all? The floor is yours.
I wasn't really prepared, but I will say, just kind of on the subject of what we've talked about, and certainly as you're talking about the blocks, I think, whoever your listeners are, whether they're aspiring entrepreneurs or struggling entrepreneurs, which oftentimes is one of the same, you know, we both kind of mentioned earlier that the beginning of that is certainly a grind. And you right now are not only an example of that in your own individual business, but even with this podcast being something brand new, you don't start with 1 million viewers. You don't get some magical SEO boost. You have to grind your way through 2 viewers, 10 viewers, 50 viewers, 500 viewers, and work that up. That's the nature of any and every single business. And while there's a million and one cliches out there that we can toss out, I think the biggest thing that we mentioned was surrounding yourself with people, whether those are people that can help you directly or indirectly. That means it could be a relationship within the industry that you're in, or just making sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that are positive, that are bringing you up, that believe in you, that support you in your vision, your dream, your goal, whatever it might be. Oftentimes, and we heard this, at least I heard it a lot on the blocks from the people that were there, that their biggest struggle wasn't marketing, advertising, capital injection. It was, my fiance just really doesn't believe in this, or my family just doesn't understand what it is I'm trying to do. And that just weighs on people so much. And so I think anytime people are successful, I think there's an element of luck, there's an element of skill, and there's an element of having a strong supporting cast. Again, whether that's inside or outside your business, directly or indirectly, I think those are three of the biggest elements. And so as you're evaluating your life, your job, your business, whatever it is that you're pushing for in life, I think those are three things that you really look at and you try to understand, what can I control? And then whatever you can't control, you influence to the best of your ability, and you let that be, but you focus on what you can control. And one of the things you can is your circle of influence, the people that are around you. So I've been very fortunate with that, and I continue to try to stay in touch with those kinds of people. Hence, one of the reasons that I was happy to come on here today, because meeting you along with everyone else on the blocks was one of the coolest experiences I had. It's not too often you're in a room with that many amazing like-minded people. So again, I want to thank you for letting me come on today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to drop that proverbial mic right there. So guys, stay tuned. We'll put at the end of this, we'll go ahead and put all Dalton's information if you're looking to reach out to him for mentoring or anything. We'll have that there, and then stay tuned for future podcasts. And thank you so much for making it to this point in this podcast. We appreciate it.
All right, guys, what a great interview that we had with Dalton. And as you've seen, my style has changed. Each episode is probably a little bit different because of my interview style. Hopefully you could see that where that came from, which was one of the, I won't say the first ones, but it was way back when I first started kicking this off. So it's grown. So I thank Dalton for his time coming on early on, and being so patient, waiting for this to air along with the actual show of Blocks. So guys, thank you so much for making it to this point in the show. If you like this, please, the best thing you can do for us, besides going to Byproduct, is hit that like, subscribe button, become a follower on our social media. It helps us grow this. Tell a friend to watch this. That means the world to us when you do that. Last but not least, big shout out, as always, to our first responders, our veterans, and our military. Folks, if you can't get behind them, feel free to get in front of them. Until next time.